Good evening, everybody. Welcome, everybody. Buonasera, if you're watching from Italy today. And welcome to this info session about the Adult Study Abroad program on Zoom. We're live from Rome right now. It's Wednesday, December 16. It's about 7:04 p.m. here in Rome. Welcome, everybody. Today, this is Gianni Maranggio, and I am the coordinator of orientation at Temple University Rome, student activities and social media. Today, we're going to go through this info session for the Adult Study Abroad with a lot of information. Before we start, though, I'm going to introduce my colleague for this info session. I would like to give you some Zoom webinar tips for everybody connected, because we would like you to interact with us with your questions, your comments. You can use the chat. You see the chat box right there, just for a message or anything. And an attendee or a panelist from us, one of my colleagues, will answer right away. Q&A button right there, you can see in the Zoom webinar, will be the best option. Or if you want to do like you have like a question that you want to talk with us, you can raise your hand, and at the end of the info session you can unmute your microphone and you can answer your question. Of course, the video that you just watched was filmed a couple of years ago. I just want to make sure that you know that it's not that recent. So, but now before we start, please put in the chat box. We want to know who you are, where you're from. So put your name, the name of the city you're typing, you're chatting from, where you're from, and maybe a brief explanation of your interest in the Adult Study Abroad. So it will be better for us to give you more information during the whole info session. Go for it. And now meet the staff. I would like to introduce, myself, we already met. Here, this is Gianni Maranggio, but also today with me, AJ Fitzgerald, who's the coordinator of the Adult Study Abroad program. He's also a professor at the Department of English. And this is his email. It's very important. Don't worry, because if you have more questions, you can email AJ directly. But this email, we're going to show this mail also later on at the end of the info session. Together with us again, we also have a Kim. Ciao, Kim. Kim Redlich, I don't know. Graduate student intern, Adult Study Abroad, also MS candidate at Georgetown University, but also she studied at Temple Rome. We don't want to know when, but she did in the past. And of course, with us, we also have our dean, Emilia Zanchina. Ciao, Emilia. How are you today? This is great to have you here.
Ciao, Gianni. It's always a pleasure. One thing that I need to tell you is that coronavirus, one of the side effects is that Gianni became so good at these live events that we keep joking. Soon we'll be running a Saturday night live edition here in Rome. Thank you so much for guiding us tonight and for mediating, and we're really looking forward to hearing from you, and we hope that we can address all questions, and we can't wait to welcome you in Rome.
So Emilia, you want to tell us more about, because we this is a great the study abroad program, the Adult Study Abroad program. Maybe it's going to happen this year, depending on the situation, and we're all so excited about this. So are you excited, Emilia, about this program? We are also happy to have adult students coming to Rome and Temple Rome, right?
This is a wonderful program. I was very lucky when I stepped in as a dean this summer to see the program already created and something that was already run. We were all heartbroken by the fact that we were expecting about 30 scholars in the program last summer, and we couldn't host them, but we did offer them the opportunity to join some of our online classes. So we had a very good feedback. With about 5-6 people actually joining online classes and going through an entire course and learning about art history in Rome or eating culture. So this was really nice. This summer, of course, we're hoping to run the program, but this would depend mostly on whether the vaccine becomes available to easily accessible to people in the US. We do know that the virus will be with us this summer as well, and we want to make sure that if you're traveling, your safety is not compromised in any way. Of course, here we are prepared to welcome you, and we have instituted all the necessary protocols and measures. We are in fact welcoming our undergraduate students this January and went through months and months of planning and preparation. If this summer still does not seem like the vaccine will be rolled out to large enough numbers, and if especially people interested in our program cannot get to it, we are prepared also to postpone the program to the fall, maybe having to forgo some of the features that were related to summer programming that we offer to the undergraduate students. But we are prepared to do to run a program in the fall as well. And of course, we're looking forward also for next summer of 2022, when we're certain that things would be back on track by then, and we can continue to grow the.
Thank you so much, Emilia. Thank you, Emilia Zanchina. Thank you so much. And I want to say hi to all the people that are connected with us right now. We have a lot of people. Susan from Wyoming, hi from Philadelphia. We have Constance Alberger, New York, Lucretia in Chicago. She studied in 2005, 2006. Yes, looking for this opportunity to return. Great. Luann, Philadelphia, Karen, Wilmington, Anne Harry, Susan Thomas, Susan Gilbert, Chow, Wyoming, a lot of from Wyoming. We have New York, Manhattan, De Castro, Philadelphia, Mary and Pat, Faye, Chow, Faye, of course, I love all things to you, Rome. Yes, Barbara. And so many. So please put in the chat box, because this is great to hear from you. And of course, now start putting your questions with the Q&A. But now, AJ, are you there?
Yes.
We
hi,
want
Johnny.
to know everything about the Adult Study Abroad program, please.
Yes, so hello everyone. As Johnny said, my name is AJ Fitzgerald, and I coordinate the Adult Study Abroad program here in Rome. So we organized this event last year. Some of you may even attended. Johnny had the chance to travel to Philadelphia and do a live information session for the participants in the Senior Scholars Program on main campus. So some of you maybe even got to meet Johnny in 2019 during that live event. And we wanted to do something similar this year. And so this virtual event is what we came up with, and we're really happy that you're able to connect to learn more about this really exciting program. And I want to thank again Dean Zanchina for joining us and welcoming everyone. So the first thing, we want to start from basics here. Again, I don't know how many people have joined us in the past for informational sessions or were interested in the program in past years. But first things first, what is Adult Study Abroad? And actually the idea is quite simple. It's an opportunity for learners of all ages, and I really want to underline this here, all ages, to study here in Rome, to get the same kind of experience that we offer to our undergraduate students. So it's a great opportunity. If you never studied abroad as an undergraduate, it's not too late. You can still get that experience. And if you did study abroad, it's a really cool opportunity to sort of relive that experience, but with a new perspective. And in fact, we'll actually be hearing from an alumna of both Temple University Rome, someone who studied here as an undergraduate student years ago, and who also studied with us in 2019 as an Adult Study Abroad participant as part of our pilot program. So you'll get to hear a testimonial from someone who studied here twice now. You can see some pictures here of what it looks like in action. Some of these pictures are obviously from years ago, but here in Rome, we have our educational philosophy. It's really centered on experiential learning. We think it would be a shame to come all the way to Rome and spend all of your time learning in a traditional classroom. That's not necessarily what makes Rome unique. There's so many great things that make Rome unique, and I think my colleague Johnny can tell you about some of those in a second. But experiential learning, it means hands-on in the art studios, which you can see some pictures here. It means not just getting lectures from, a PowerPoint presentation on a projector in the classroom, but actually on site in front of the artwork you're studying, in front of the architecture you're studying, in front of the history you're studying. We think that's what makes study abroad experience so powerful. I do want to start off before we get into the details though, just quickly talking about 2021. Dean Zankina already mentioned this, but obviously there's a lot of uncertainty right now in the world as these vaccines, which are becoming approved in more and more countries, get distributed. So we are planning right now to host the program in 2021 so that if it is possible, we are ready. And if it is not possible for whatever reason, then we will, obviously follow the guidance of the Italian government, the US government, the relevant health authorities, and, possibly postpone the program as Dean mentioned, or, go to 2022 where we hope a lot of these issues will no longer be quite so urgent. So I just want to clarify that right off the bat. We are planning for 2021. We understand some people may be uncertain. So a lot of the information that we're going to be presenting tonight is actually, we're going to lock this in place for 2021 and 2022 so that you can make that decision in the way that's best for you. The basics of the program, this is really what it entails. It is 6 weeks. We call it our summer semester, but really it is late spring, I suppose, for most people. It's 6 weeks in May and June. So mid-May to the end of June. Rome is your classroom. We're all into learning, as I mentioned, so you have tons of opportunities throughout your different classes to experience Rome firsthand with the guidance of Temple Rome faculty. Our classes are held Monday through Thursday, and we hope that should give you quite a bit of flexibility to sort of pursue your own interests.
AJ, can I interrupt for a second? Sorry, we see a black box on the, so everybody was wondering about this black boxes that we see on the PowerPoint. Is there a way you can move that black box from?
Yes, that was the video panel, I think. Sorry, I think that was
that one, yes. Can you move it on the, yes, perfect. That would be great. Thank you, AJ.
Thanks, Johnny, for letting me know. You'll be studying Temple Rome faculty who instruct our undergraduate students. So it'll be the same academic rigor that our undergraduate students experience. And then the last thing, the program here, we are focusing on the academic experience, on the experience in Rome. So you will need to organize your own housing and airfare. We can certainly give you tips. We can certainly help you navigate the city and understand which neighborhoods to look for housing in and things like this. Will be available. I'll talk more about this later on a little bit, but so you won't be completely on your own, but we ultimately actually think you'll probably end up getting a better deal on those things if you book on your own. So that is the basics of what the program is, and we'll go into more details later on. But Johnny, you've been working at Temple Rome for quite some time now. You've had the opportunity to see lots of different classes of students pass through the Villa Caproni. You've also had the chance to connect with them as alumni after they've completed the program, through all the reunion events that you organize even in Philadelphia. And so you've had a chance to see the impact that the program's had after our students complete their time here in Rome. So I'm wondering if maybe you could say a few words about, why should someone consider studying abroad? And especially why in Rome, Italy?
So I guess there are many reasons and everybody has a different reasons. I already saw some in the chat box. They want to spend some time in Rome, of course. You got to think that maybe many of you have been to Rome already as a tourist. You came for a week, 5 days. Now it's going to be completely different experience on a different level. You are going to be living in Rome for 6 weeks. You're not going to be a tourist anymore. That means you're going to mingle with the culture and with Italians. You're going to have the chance and the time to explore things that if you come as a tourist for just a few days, you won't have the time to. So one of the things, of course, this is just one of the reasons, it's because you're going to have more time to explore parts of Rome that you've never been to, like those narrow streets or off the beaten track. You're gonna go somewhere where you've never been to. This is a map, for example, that you see of Rome, where Temple University of Rome is, a beautiful Villa Caproni in the heart of Rome, close to Villa Borghese. You have the metro station Flaminio right there, will take you everywhere in Rome. And you're like walking distance to Piazza del Popolo, the Trevi Fountain, the Spanish Steps. And as you can see, the Vatican City, for example, just to, an idea, in 25 minutes, you can walk to the Vatican. In Piazza del Popolo, in 8 minutes. You can go to Trevi Fountain in 15 walking distance. That's why we definitely recommend you to get an apartment in Prati. Prati area is the area that you can see. AJ is like putting the arrow around. It's the area between Temple University of Rome and the Vatican City. It's a beautiful area with a lot of restaurants and places where to go. Very nice, very elegant, and very safe, most of all. And you can walk everywhere from there. So one of the idea is, like, of course, one of the reasons to come to and study Temple Rome, to have more time for yourself, but also to travel. You're gonna have a longer weekends for you to travel to Venice. So maybe you want to go to the Amalfi Coast and spend a weekend in Capri and Positano and relax. And in May, June, it's actually, the weather is going to be great. But also you want to go to Tuscany, maybe not just Florence and Pisa and Siena where you've been to, or you can just see that in a day, but you want to go to a farmhouse, an agriturismo in Tuscany, and have a wine tasting at night and enjoy, the company with other friends that you might meet during your study abroad program. So you're going to have more time to enjoy Italy, to travel, but also to enjoy Rome and to see things that you've never seen as a tourist maybe before, because you're going to have more time. You're going to mingle with some Italians. Maybe you're going to go to some restaurants where you're going to start meeting Italians, and then maybe you're going to start trying different restaurants, or go to a restaurant that you like many times. You're going to become friends with the waiters and start learning some Italian words. And of course, maybe you're going to learn some Italian, which is, I don't know if some of you already speak Italian, but you, of course, and after six weeks, you're going to learn some. You're, going to get your cappuccino cornetto in the morning in a bar, or going to a restaurant or an aperitivo. Why not? You're going to learn. So there are so many reasons also. And one of the other reasons is not only you're going to make new friends, other people from the program, but also with the undergrad. And this is something with undergrad students, is something that I'm sure Susan will talk about later about this, because you're going to meet the students and you're going to see their experience and sharing experiences. So there are many reasons why. Sì, parlo un po', Susan De Castro parla un po' di italiano. You will learn more, I will tell you, because once you come over here, you will be, of course, English is spoken all over Italy, and especially in Rome. For those of you who have never been to Rome, don't worry, you're not going to be lost, because inside downtown Rome, everybody speaks some of English. So don't worry about this. Of course, they're waiting to have tourists in Rome. So you will see, it's going to be really friendly. So but what will you do and what will you study throughout your 6 weeks in Rome? AJ, we want to know, what will they study and do in 6 weeks? Not only traveling, going to restaurants, exploring Rome, what else?
Yeah, so, if I could add anything to everything Johnny just mentioned, all those great reasons to study abroad, all those great reasons to come to Rome and to Italy in particular, in addition to coordinating this program, I also do teach a few classes here on campus. I do get to speak to a lot of students in class through the Writing Center, things like that. And one thing that you hear very often from our students, from our alumni, is that their experience studying abroad with us, or studying abroad in general, was really life-changing in a lot of ways. And it seems almost cliche, but it's true. That experience of really immersing yourself in a new place, a place that speaks another language, a place that operates a little bit differently than what you're used to, and getting to expand your perspective to see how things are done differently, it can be a really powerful experience that stays with people for the rest of their lives. And so through a program like this, we hope to make that same kind of life-altering experience, you know, available, accessible to people of all ages. I myself actually never studied abroad as an undergraduate, believe it or not. It's something I always wanted to do. I found ways to do it after I graduated from college, and I'm so glad I did, because it has quite literally changed my life. You can see that because I'm here talking to you guys from Rome right now. But I do want to talk more now about the specifics of the program, the 6-week program that we have planned for 2021 and 2022. So some of you may have connected to our events in the past, and you may have heard about our format, how we're doing things previously. We have switched it up a little bit from previous years when we promoted this program. And so I'm going to go through those changes, explain what changes we made, and also a little bit why we made these changes. So the program consists of these basic elements. We're going to have a highlights of Rome course. I'll talk in more detail about what that is in a second. We're going to have an Italian language and culture course. We're going to have weekly activities with our very own student activities coordinator, Johnny, who you've gotten a chance to meet here tonight. And then we're also going to have some options for people, so you can sort of customize the program according to your own wants and needs. So that option will include the option to join a regular undergraduate course, in addition to the adult study abroad courses you're taking, and circumstances permitting, the option to join the group for a mid-program excursion to another city within Italy. So I'll talk about that in a second. So differences from previous years, what have we done? Well, in the previous years, when we were piloting this program, when we were trying to get our first big cohort last summer, we were using an auditing model that was much like Main Campus's Senior Scholars Program, where our adult study abroad participants would join regular undergraduate classes alongside our summer undergraduate students. The new program instead is moving towards more custom programming for adult study abroad participants, but with some of those options I mentioned before. And why did we make these changes? Well, there are a couple of important reasons. First of all, what we noticed, especially in people who have piloted the program and have taken courses with us, not only here in person a couple of years ago, but online, the undergraduate courses that are offered during the summer 1 semester, when we offer the adult study abroad program, are extremely intense. And I don't know if people really appreciate this before they start the courses. Normally, an undergraduate at Temple University would take 4 or 5 courses throughout the course of a 15-week semester. Our summer semester is taken down from 15 weeks to only 6 weeks, but it's the same amount of content. So it's the same amount of content in less than half the time. It's a very intense experience. If you take 2 of those classes, it can be, well, it can be very tiring. Let's put it that way. It can be almost exhausting at times, especially if you haven't done it in a long time. It's exhausting even for our undergraduate students to sort of have that compressed, intensive experience. And so we wanted to make sure that the workload for this program could be sort of tailored to each individual's needs and expectations. Some people probably want to come to Rome to have a more relaxing time. Some people maybe really want to dedicate themselves to their studies. And so we have some more options that will allow you to choose the time commitment that is best for you. And the other important reason was that the auditing format that we had in the past, it always brought up a lot of issues with course availability. We had limited space in our classes. We have fewer students and fewer courses during the summer. That means there were limited spaces in each class for our adult study abroad auditors. And what we found is a lot of people were trying to sign up for the same few classes, and we maybe only had 2 spots in those very popular classes. That meant some people were on the wait list for classes, some people weren't getting the classes they wanted, etc. So hopefully this custom programming will give us more flexibility when it comes to course availability. And that is extremely important also if we're thinking about potential 2021 program, because our class sizes have become even smaller with the social distancing restrictions in place. So now we have even fewer spots in a classroom than normal. And so by creating a custom programming, we can try to avoid those problems of course availability. But now I want to talk a little bit about what these new courses actually consist of. So we have this new Highlights of Rome course, which will allow you to study. It's sort of a survey course of a lot of the things that make Rome so special, so beautiful. So you're going to get to meet our faculty working in archaeology, architecture, art history, classics, history, etc. And again, it's an experiential learning. That's the core of our educational philosophy. So you're going to be doing this not just in the classroom, but on site throughout the city of Rome with our Temple Rome faculty. And you can see here, we have some images. Again, some of these are a little bit older. We have a sketchbook class on site taking sketches of the city. We also have an art history class at the Capitoline Museum, one of the cities. So this is a museum run by the city of Rome, not the national government. And it's one of the city of Rome's biggest, most impressive museums. And they have a great sort of balcony at one point that actually overlooks the Roman Forum. So you can see our professor, that is Professor Rob Huber there, speaking to his students in front of the Roman Forum in the Capitoline Museum. And that is actually a photo from January 2020. So if only we could go back in time and tell them. Or actually, you know what, I don't want to ruin that moment. It was such a great moment. I'm glad that they were able to enjoy it while they could. So this is generally the sort of stuff you can expect in the Highlights of Rome course that leads off the program. Then there's also an Italian language and culture course. And I really want to emphasize the second point, culture. You know, our Italian faculty here at Temple Rome really are wonderful. They're so nice, they're so enthusiastic, so passionate about what they do. And they are consistently some of our most popular professors on campus. I've heard so many students talk about, you know, what a great time they had in their Italian class. Our Italian faculty have really found a way to make, you know, learning a new language fun and engaging, and the students appreciate that. But this class is really more than just learning a new language, which is obviously very difficult to do in 6 weeks. It's also about immersing yourself in Italian culture and contemporary Italian life, contemporary Italian society, and our Italian faculty are going to be the very best way for you guys as Adult Study Abroad participants to really sort of access and begin to understand that contemporary Italian life, what contemporary Italian society is like. So this Italian language and culture course, it's really about more than just the vocabulary and grammar. It's really about understanding Italian culture more broadly. And again, we have an educational philosophy that really emphasizes experiential education, and this class is no exception. So in addition to the work you'll be doing in the classroom, learning the basics of the Italian language, you will also have these, we call them Italian Cultural Lab experiences every week, where your Italian professor will actually take you out in the world to help you not only learn the language, but gain a greater appreciation for Italian society and culture. And so you can see we have a couple pictures from some of the cultural labs that we run with our undergraduate students. And Johnny is very involved in the planning of these cultural labs. And Johnny, maybe you could say a few words about the activities that our Italian faculty have planned as part of the cultural lab program.
Sure, of course. First of all, I want to reassure everybody, I know we're going very fast. Somebody said I can't take notes so fast. Don't worry, we're recording all of this, and we're going to send to all of you who registered like the link to the recording to watch this again. So just in case you miss something, so don't worry. But talking about the Italian Cultural Labs, yes, those are like a great events with our Italian faculty. You're going to go in groups with an Italian faculty professor to see and to visit many places. So one cultural lab, for example, is the one you see in this photo. We have the Italian market, for example. Daniela Curioso, one of our Italian professor, will take you to the market and will teach you how to choose the fruit and vegetables in Italian, how to go shopping in a market, in an Italian market, in Italian, of course. So you're going to have like an aspect from the cultural point of view, but also the language point of view, and you're going to learn a lot. You're going to learn how to get a panino or a sandwich from there. Or also you're going to go to see some of the neighborhood of Rome, for example, San Lorenzo, Trastevere, Testaccio, where you're going to go with an Italian faculty member, professor, to see some areas that maybe you wouldn't go by yourself. And of course, you're going to see part of the culture, but also you're going to learn some Italian language. One of the favorite Italian culture is not only the market, Trastevere, but also learning Italian with dogs. For example, you're going to have some, of course, dogs with a dog professional instructor coming over to Temple Rome, and you're going to learn how to say sit, fetch to a dog, of course, in Italian. It's one of those events where you're going to see a lot of Italian culture, but also you're going to learn some Italian. So it's great. AJ.
Yeah. So the last piece of our base program here are these weekly group activities. And we really want to do this for two reasons. One, again, to give you more opportunities to really immerse yourself in Italian culture, but also an opportunity to connect with your fellow participants. That sense of community is so important with a program like ours, whether it's the undergraduates, whether it's an adult study abroad program. The sense of community is very important, and we think these group activities will go a long way to creating that sense of community. And once again, Johnny is really our expert when it comes to all these activities and all of the programming that he puts on for our undergraduate students. So Johnny, maybe you could also tell us a little bit about the social calendar that we usually put on for our undergraduate students and that we will also create a version of for our adult study abroad participants.
Right. So, of course, we have a lot of activities for our undergrad students during the fall, the spring, and the summer. For the adult study abroad program, and we're going to have some activities together with the undergrad. Some are going to be just dedicated to the group. For example, some of these activities we're going to have at the beginning of your semester in Rome. We're going to have this day trip to Todi and Titignano. Todi is a medieval hill town in the middle of nowhere in Umbria. You know, Umbria is a region very close to Lazio. We're going to travel to there. It's an hour and a half. You're going to go and get your cappuccino cornetto through this like the streets of this medieval hill town, and then we're all going to go to Titignano to have a great lunch. Titignano, it's an agriturismo, which is sort of a farmhouse, but it looks like a castle basically, and all are surrounded by this beautiful view that you can see here in this photo, where they produce all the food that you're going to have for lunch. So from the sauce, from the pasta till the wine you're going to drink, it's produced there. It's all like bio, and it's great food, of course. It's a great day trip. Students, remember that. And I'm sure some of the people connected today, I saw like you were a Temple Rome students in the past, and maybe you had a chance to go on a day trip to Todi and Titignano. Face it, best meal. Yes, it is. It's a really great food. And also, one of the activities we're going to have a cooking class. As you can see from the photo there, we're going to go to a professional kitchen with two professional Italian chefs. And together with them, we're going to learn how to make a fresh pasta with the tomato sauce and pesto, and you make your own tiramisu. And then, of course, you're going to eat all together at the end. Another great event and activities that we're talking about, it's an evening activity again, and it's on, you can sign up for if you feel like. It's the wine tasting night. An Italian sommelier, in this case, a professional sommelier, will come to Temple Rome. We'll give a presentation of the wine, how it is made, evaluated, how to match with the food. And of course, she's going to talk about Italian wine. And of course, at the end, we're going to have a tasting of a Prosecco, and then a white wine and a red wine. And of course, we're going to give you this great Temple Rome glass as a memory of the event that you can see in this photo. All of these activities, of course, are subject to all the COVID protocols. So whatever it's going to be when you come over, don't worry, because we're working on these protocols for the spring semester with our undergrad. So it's all in safe, of course. So we're going to respect all the protocols. But again, from here to June, a lot of time will pass by, and we don't know what the protocols will be when you guys are coming over in June. But they're like a great events. We're also thinking about having some events together with the undergrad, like calcetto, soccer, yoga night with an Italian yoga instructor in Italian, and maybe we're also gonna have a salsa night. But that's something else that we had in the past, and you're gonna have. You're going to learn the basic steps of salsa dance together with a professional Italian instructor of salsa. And it's great because he comes over to Temple with other professional dancer, and you're going to learn how to dance salsa in Italy. Salsa is not an Italian thing, but it's such a fun event. You're going to love it. That's the thing. So yeah, AJ.
Thanks, Johnny, for sharing all that. I mean, I think the point is really we have so many different and great activities and events that we usually put on for our undergraduates. Of course, we can't have certainty right now as to what the exact social calendar would look like. For example, 2021, it depends on a lot of things, but this is what we typically do. And so hopefully we're hoping that we'll be able to put on activities, as many of these activities as are possible to do safely. We've even taken students to soccer games, to professional soccer games. The stadium is actually not so far from campus here. So there are a lot of different things we can do, and we'll have to wait and see to what is possible and what is safe when the time comes. So that's the social activities calendar. And then, as I said before, there's also the option, and I know we have some questions, we'll be sure to address it. I know there's a question about the timing of the 2021 program, and I will address that also in just a few slides here, the tentative dates for summer 2021. There's an option to audit an undergraduate course. So again, if you would like to study and get that more intense experience, take a deep dive into a subject matter like art history or classics or something like that, beyond the sort of survey material presented in the Highlights of Rome course, you can do that. You can pick a course from a regular undergraduate catalog and add it on to what you're studying with the Adult Study Abroad group also. And the mid-program excursion, like everything else, we can't promise this yet, but it's something that we're working on. We're hoping it'll be possible. Our undergraduate students go on some great excursions, not only throughout the country of Italy, but actually throughout Europe in a typical semester they would. And we're hoping this will be possible again, maybe if not in 2021, hopefully by 2022, we would like to organize an optional excursion towards the midway point of the program over a weekend. So we'll leave most of the weekends so that you can sort of plan as you wish, but one weekend as an option, we'll do a group trip. If you opt in, we'll take care of everything. We'll book the travel, we'll book the hotels, we'll have a Temple Rome faculty member as your guide. And we have some really great destinations and trips: Florence, Venice, Naples, Pompeii, and some of the other archaeological sites around Pompeii. And probably my personal favorite, the one I'm most interested in, is Palermo. And Johnny is actually from Sicily, so I'm sure he could tell you a lot more about Palermo and about that trip. But again, it really depends on what the situation looks like. So here we can have a longtime Temple Rome faculty member teaches archaeology. His name is Jan Gedane. And here you can see an archaeological site on one of those trips back in 2016.
Right. AJ, we want to say somebody was actually talking about the schedule, we want to say that before you come over, of course, you're going to have all the schedule for all the excursion, the days of your classes, when this events will happen. You will know everything before you start. So everything will be planned and you will know when you're going to have a free time to travel, to do your own thing.
Yes, definitely. I don't necessarily have the exact schedule right now as to what time the different classes, what days. Again, all classes, whether it's the undergraduate courses or the adult study abroad exclusive courses, happen Monday through Thursday. So we'll give you the more specific times for the different classes, obviously, as we get closer to the program date, but you will know everything beforehand. And you'll also know the dates of that excursion before you decide to opt in or not. You will have that information, you'll have those dates before you are asked to make the decision as whether or not you would like to join the excursion or if you prefer to do your own thing.
I just want to add an information that because the excursion is something very new, that this would depend, of course, on whether we have enough interest and what is the situation and whether we feel like we have can take the possibility for that. So for sure, all the other elements thus far discussed are definitely solidly in place for the new program. The excursion is really up in the air in terms of we don't know whether we would get enough interest from you for something like this. And just to reinforce that, yes, classes are scheduled on specific dates every week so that you have at least 3 days every week free to explore on your own.
Yes, thanks, Dean Zankina. We're hopeful that we'll be able to add this into the program at some point, but this is the one piece of the program that we can't necessarily guarantee at this point. So we are going to hear from an alum of the Adult Study Abroad program before we close today. I think it'll be really useful to talk to somebody who has been to Rome multiple times as an undergraduate student, as an Adult Study Abroad student, and so you can hear a little bit of what it's like, why she decided to study abroad with us. But I know there's a really important question on everyone's mind, and that is, how much does this program cost? And so as I've mentioned before, we've made some revisions to the programming. It's changed quite a bit from previous years and previous structures. With that, the price has needed to change also. And so let me go over this, and I'm going to explain there are also some really great discount rates available as well. So I'm going to show you those with the pricing. So here is the base pricing for the new version of the Adult Study Abroad program. That fee is approximately, well, it's not approximately, it's $3,000 US. That will be in US dollars. It doesn't matter what happens to the exchange rate. That price will stay fixed. The audit fee, it depends on the class. Some classes may have some additional costs because they go to a lot of site visits with a lot of tickets and stuff, but we're going to be looking for those options to be approximately in that $500 range for the two program options. Remember, though, you will have to get your housing and airfare costs separately for the 6-week program. But we will help you not only find a great place to stay, we'll also try to help you find the best deal possible and give you some context for what the prices might be. However, those are the base prices, and we're offering a lot of discounts, and we expect that most of our participants will be able to use at least one of the discounts here. So if you are a Temple University alum or a Temple University Rome alum, because we have a lot of Temple Rome alum who did not necessarily study at Temple University, maybe went to another university and came here just for their study abroad experience, you're going to get 15% off the base program fee. So you're going to save a few $100s right there. We also have a buddy discount, and that is 10% if you register as a group. So if you're coming with your partner, you'd be eligible. If you're coming with a group of 3, all 3 of you would be eligible. And therefore, also any combination larger than that, you'd be eligible for this discount as well. The discounts are not cumulable, but you can always take one or the other. If you and your partner, for instance, are both Temple alum, then you'll get the full 15% off of both registrations. So that is the new pricing, and I'm happy, again, we're going to take some questions at the end. Johnny and I will stay on the line. But for now, I want to hear a testimonial from our Adult Study Abroad 2019 alum. We ran a pilot version of the program. I'm talking about Susan Cohen. Susan not only graduated from Temple University and studied here as an undergraduate, here in Rome, I mean, but joined the Adult Study Abroad program 2019 as our very first pilot participant. And she also was serving last year until we had to cancel the 2020 program as an Adult Study Abroad peer mentor. And she will most likely take that role again going forward. So I'm going to just take off the PowerPoint for a moment, and I'm going to invite Susan. I know she's here in the audience, so we're just going to have to bring her up on the panel.
She was there. She came over. We saw her.
There are a few Susans, actually.
Okay. Yeah, there are a few Susan. Yes.
Here we go. Susan, are you there?
I'm here. Do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
But your
We don't see you yet,
camera.
Hi. Hi, AJ. Hi, Johnny.
Ciao. Susan, can you put your video on?
Yeah, I'm trying. Hold on. It says it's on.
Do you have a little, like a slide cover over your webcam?
No, I don't. Let me try to join. Let me try to join a different way.
You know, AJ, while Susan is fixing this problem, maybe we can answer some of the questions. If you have any questions you want to talk from the audience, you can raise your hand. Raise your hand. You know how to raise your hand in there, or in the Q&A, or in the chat?
There was one question in the chat that maybe we can answer.
Go, Kim. Yes.
So Lucretia or Lucretia, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing, apologies if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly, was asking about the number of hours, approximate hours that would be used for the Highlights of Rome class and the Language and Culture class. And also she was asking about the scheduling of the weekly activities and whether they would be on the same day every week or whether those days would be staggered.
Right, that's a great question. So thanks for putting that question in the chat. We're looking at the Highlights of Rome class. It kind of depends when you go on site, for example, to some of those sites we saw in the images before. Obviously, there's some variability in terms of how long each of those site visits take, but what we're looking at is approximately 3 hours total for that site visit. That's typically what our undergraduate students do when they do the very same site visits. And so that would probably most likely be, let's say you have Monday through Thursday classes. Most likely you'll have 2 hours in the classroom with your Italian professor one day and a 2 to 3 hour cultural lab experience the second day. And that Highlights of Rome course, there are a few different possible formats still. We're going to be also developing this in more detail with the professors as we get closer to the date. But again, it may look very similar, about 2 hours in the classroom one day to prepare you for that site visit, and 3 hours all told for that site visit, wherever it is. So that's the best guess I can give you right now. It'll probably be pretty close to that format, but at this time, I can't give you the exact duration of each classroom or site visit session. As for the weekly activities, we're probably going to do our best to come up with a single day, like maybe Wednesday, maybe a good day where we have a lot of those activities offered for people. It may be that due to availability, due to space concerns, due to whatever it may be, we may need to switch those week to week, especially like if we take the group to see a soccer game, then we have to go when they're playing, things like that. But yeah, it certainly would be easier for everyone if it was kind of consistent. And so to the best of our ability, we're going to try to do that. I see Susan has come back.
Hi.
Okay, Susan.
Yeah.
Okay, hi.
Hey,
Sorry about that.
No problem. So Susan, in the few minutes we have left, first of all, maybe you can just tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and why you were interested in this adult study abroad experience in the first place.
Yeah, sure. Wait, let me. I have to move to another room. I was a 1976 graduate of Temple University. I was an accounting major. I've been a CPA all of my career. But before I switched to becoming an accounting major, I was an anthropology major. And so I went to Temple's Rome program for 1973 and 74, which was my junior year. And I fell in love with it. It was life-changing, as you spoke about before. It really was life-changing for me. And then I went back to Italy many times over the intervening years, including to Italy for Temple's in Rome's 40th anniversary, and again for Temple's 50th anniversary, where I started a discussion with you guys about the possibility of me coming back again as a student, which finally happened last year.
Yeah. And Susan, can you just tell us what you studied while you're here?
Yeah, I took two courses. This was under the old format that AJ spoke about. I was in classes with the undergrads. I took Roman history with Jan, whose picture you saw just a little earlier. And I took photography. Both of them were an enormous amount of work, lots of reading. I chose to do the homework assignments and take the exams. I just felt like I would get more out of it that way. And I think I did, but it was very time consuming, but great. I mean, I loved it, but it was a lot of work.
Yeah. You know, Susan, you have this unique experience. You studied with us twice, as an undergraduate, as an adult study abroad student. I'm wondering if you can sort of compare those two experiences. How was your second time studying with us here in Rome different than the first when you were in college the first time?
Yeah, well, besides the fact that I'm over 40 years older than I was when I was there the first time, Rome is different. There were certainly not as many tourists as there are today.
Well, maybe not today, but
yeah. The living experience, I think, is different than the kids have today. We stayed in pensions when I was a student in the program. So maybe there were 3 or 4 students to a pension. Now, of course, there's student housing. When I was there last year, of course, I had my own apartment. I didn't live in the student housing. I think when I was a student, I traveled a lot more than I did when I was there last year. I think I, as the kids do today, went away almost every weekend someplace. I did travel a little last year when I was there. I went to Cinque Terre one weekend. I went to Florence one weekend. But mostly I stayed put and explored Rome more than I think I had when I was younger.
Yeah. So Susan, just sort of last question, maybe you could just tell us generally the impact that your adult study abroad experience had on you. How did it really go overall in the end? And would you do it again?
Yeah, sure. I had some worries when I was going. I was worried that the students wouldn't accept me, the undergrad students wouldn't accept me, that I wouldn't fit in. You know, I wasn't worried about my ability to find my way around and feed myself and things like that, because I do travel a lot on my own, so that part was okay. But it was a wonderful experience. The students were great. In fact, it ended up being one of the best parts for me, was meeting the young students and being in classes with them. It wasn't as life-changing experience for me as it was the first time around. But it was definitely a more in-depth, get to really learn the culture, learn the city this time. And it was wonderful. And yes, I will definitely be back there again.
Do you think you were able to appreciate certain things or pick up on certain things that maybe you missed as a younger student?
I think so. I think as a younger student, I was like a lot of younger students, more interested in being with my friends. Whereas now as an adult traveler, just in general, I'm more interested in meeting the people and learning about the culture. And I think I really did more of that this time around.
That's awesome. Great. Well, thanks so much, Susan, for joining us today. And I'm sure there'll be people here attending the webinar and may have questions for you. So if you are able to stay on the line, I'm sure they would really appreciate it if they could maybe ask.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Oh, great. Thanks again, Susan. So
thank you, Susan.
let me just go back to our presentation. We have just a few more items here, and we will stay on the line a few minutes later if necessary to answer everyone's questions. But of course, the last thing I want to talk about is what's next. So if this sounds interesting, this is something you're really thinking about doing, what are the next steps to actually make your adult study abroad experience a reality? Well, a really good place to start is to join our email list, which you can do at the link here, rome.temple.edu/subscribe. That way you'll get all the latest updates about the program. We're hoping to send out an announcement in late January or early February to begin pre-registration. So pre-registration will be asking for some information. We'll be asking for the kind of options and classes, et cetera, that you may be interested in. And we're going to accept those pre-registrations on a rolling basis throughout our spring semester. We're going to try to probably reach out around March 2021 to sort of confirm everyone's participations. We're hoping that by March, we should have at least greater certainty regarding next summer and what will be possible and safe. We want to obviously get past this winter period. We want to get past the holidays. We want to see how the distribution of the vaccine goes. And we're hoping to have some of that certainty by March, but we will stay in constant contact as soon as we have updates. For that summer program, which we're going to try to stay on this schedule, but obviously we are going to, pay careful attention to the circumstances, the situation at hand. After March, when we ask you to confirm, we're going to try to ask for the deposit fees as late as possible so that you have the greatest possible certainty before you're asked to actually start paying money for the program. Full program fees would be due, again, as late as possible so you have the greatest possible certainty. And throughout the spring semester, we're going to be holding some virtual orientation sessions where I will be available to answer any questions you might have about, how do I find affordable housing for the 6 weeks that I'm there? What is that neighborhood that Johnny said was so great again? What should I know while I'm packing? All those things, any questions you might have, I'll be available for some Zoom orientation sessions on a rolling basis to try to put your mind at ease as you prepare to potentially come here in Rome. And that would be not only for this year, the 2021 program, but for all programs. We're going to make this a regular part of the sort of program calendar. And someone asked about the dates before. If all looks good and we are able to run this program as scheduled in the summer or late spring of 2021, these are the dates. You would arrive on May 13th, which is a Thursday, and you would depart on Friday, June 25th, when our undergraduates depart. However, of course, you are certainly welcome to stay beyond the program if you want to stay in Italy for a little bit longer. So that is our presentation for today. It seems like we're a few minutes over time, but I know I can stay at least a few minutes here before they close the building on me. It is later here in Rome. So if you have questions, again, I'm sorry it's difficult with the presentation here to always monitor the chat, but you can put them in the chat. You can raise your hand and we will do.
AJ, yes, can we go now to yes, this is the get in touch slide that we all want, because they're asking how they can get in touch with us and ask more information. So go to the website. That's the email that you already received. Yes, Pat, adult study abroad at temple.edu, and subscribe to the mailing list. Of course, on the website, you can get also more information. So AJ, are you going to answer to those questions, right? Like you're part of the answering those emails, right? Kim, do we have like other questions, Kim?
We do. We have one from Barbara. She was curious about whether 6 the 6-week duration is the only option, or whether that's flexible.
That is a great question, and we're really glad you asked. We do know that 6 weeks, for some people, maybe it's not enough. You want to stay even longer. For others, it is a big commitment. We are hopeful that in future versions of the program, to try to maybe offer something like different modules, so you could either do 3 weeks or the full 6 weeks. It's unlikely that we'll be able to do that for this first version here in 2021, but definitely look out. If you're looking for a shorter program, definitely stay in touch. Look out for future years. That is definitely an idea that we have been thinking about implementing.
Kim?
Yep, there's another question from Haley, who's asking whether the discounts that AJ talked about will be extended through 2022.
Absolutely. Yeah, so Haley, I believe if it's the same Haley I'm thinking of, I believe we spoke even on Skype last year, so I remember you quite well, don't worry. I'm happy to talk with you. You can send me an email and we can talk about this, but absolutely. The discounts that we offered are in place 2021 and 2022, so don't worry about that.
We have another question, whether there's sort of a hard deadline for the applications for this year's summer program.
Right now, there's not a hard deadline. I would say the deadline is really for your own sake in terms of when you can, it's a big commitment. It's a big time commitment. So it's really more about how late you can make the decision to take the jump and pick up and move to Rome for 6 weeks. For us, we're going to be accepting those pre-registrations on a rolling basis. Obviously, by the time it gets to April, it's going to be cutting it pretty close. But right now, there's not necessarily a fixed deadline. We're going to be opening that registration process in late January, early February, and we'll accept registrations on a rolling basis throughout the spring semester.
Do we have time for one more?
Absolutely, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Constance was asking about whether some of the contact details of those who are planning to attend can be shared with the others so that they can communicate outside of this forum about going forward.
So actually there is a Adult Study Abroad Facebook group, and Adult Study Abroad 2021 Facebook group. We encourage everyone to attend. I don't have the link right in front of me, but we're going to send some of this material to you guys after the webinar, and we can include the link to that Facebook group. So yeah, after people register and before we depart, we definitely hope to offer some opportunities for you to connect with your fellow participants, either through those virtual orientation sessions. I'll be doing my best to answer any questions you might have, or through Facebook, or through email threads and things like that. So we'll definitely do our best to try to put you guys in contact with one another.
That's great. And I just want to say hi to Madeline and Bruce Berlin, who were enrolled actually for last adult study abroad program, but it was canceled, of course. So they're really hoping to come in the summer. Ciao, Madeline and Bruce, that I met in Philadelphia.
Oh yeah, great.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to send to everybody watching, like you're registered, we're going to send a link to this webinar so you can watch it again. And also information who to contact if you have more questions, and also the link to the Facebook group so you can all, share information.
Yeah, and I'll just put the get in touch slide back up so here's the link to the program page. We're going to put all updates directly at this URL, rome.temple.edu/adultstudyabroad. We'll also put the link, in addition to sending it out by email, we'll put the link to this recording and the slides on this page as well. adultstudyabroad@temple.edu. That email will go directly to my inbox. So rest assured that I will try to answer all of your questions to the best of my ability. And of course, you can subscribe to our mailing list so you get those announcements as soon as they go out.
Thanks, AJ. Thanks, Amelia, Dean Amelia Zankina. Thanks, Kim. Thanks, Susan, Emily for organizing all this. I saw also Mary answering some of the questions. Thanks everybody for attending and for being with us for this info session. And we're really looking forward to seeing you all in Rome at Temple Rome. Ciao, everybody.